Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Check Your Six podcast. I am joined once again by my co-host Syntax. How's it going this week?
Pretty good. It's been pretty busy for me. How about yourself?
It's definitely been busy trying to get ready for my trip out to Boston next week. Got to write a speech, and I'll probably be up until like 1 or 2 trying to make some more progress on that tonight. Um, but there's that. So if you're out in Boston or in that area for PAX next weekend, or if you're going to the college esports expo, I'll be there doing a talk there. So you'll be able to see me, talk with me. I'll be around probably doing a podcast with Emerson College and Northeastern universities while I'm out there. So that'll be a lot of fun. First time on site for them. Or really anyone other than University of Washington. So that's really exciting. But yeah, I got to get ready for all of that, which I'm totally not really ready for talking in front of a room of people. It's been a while since I've had to do that.
You know, funny thing I personally have never had a problem with talking in front of people. I mean, I did it as a job in the Marine Corps for, so many years. But um, did you know that in the world, the number one fear is public speaking, with death being number two. So people would rather die than public speak. And I think that is just hilarious.
That is hilarious. I'm not that bad. I'll admit I'm not that bad. I mean, most of my job I end up giving talks and stuff, but it's like 10, 12 people. I'm hoping I get 10, 12 people to come to my panel. Like that'd be a success for me. And I mean, I've been doing this long enough that I'm comfortable with it, but like people are coming to hear my words of wisdom, and that's just kind of weird. Anyways, we're gonna start with Pro League news, North American Pro League news. Outside of we're number one. Outside of that, the only news that I've seen and which Syntax mentioned is with TSM. Why don't you lead us down that road?
So first off, right now, I know that the whole, Pro League as a whole, every nation included is kind of going through a roster shuffle right now. And, people on Twitter saying, the NA roster shuffle is crazy right now. I don't know how much of a troll that is by the bigger people. If there's not many changes going on, if they just want people to get scared or excited or whatnot, I don't know. But the only thing that has actually happened at this moment is that TSM dropped their coach. His name is Bagel. Now, I know Bagel was he. I don't know if he was an official coach. I know he kind of casually slipped into the roster at one point, because I remember going, I'd followed Bagel for a while when he was part of END, and then he went to the MKers, and then he finally casually just kind of slipped under the rug into TSM, and everyone's like, "Who is this guy?" He's like, "Oh, I'm the coach." And everyone's like, "Oh, okay." Like, I didn't even know he was the coach. And he kind of came in during nationals. I think he might have been kind of like on like a trial basis coach slash interim. Um, but he came into TSM during nationals, and he played uh, through all the way through SI, obviously. And he made. I mean, I don't know if he himself made TSM, but under his guidance, TSM is top of Pro League and made an incredible run at SI, and then for him to get just dropped as a coach right after SI is kind of mind-boggling. And everyone in the community is kind of up in arms about that. It's like everyone kind of loved this guy, and from what it seemed like in pictures and stuff, the team really really liked him. And for TSM to kind of put out a statement, and say like, "Oh, his personality didn't mesh well. Like, we wish him the best and everything," is a very just the basic copy pasta explanation you can give for dropping someone off the roster. Who knows what the real reason was? But I still think it was a bad decision on their part to just drop him like that all of a sudden. But that's the only thing that's
Yeah,
gone on with Pro League.
yeah. I mean, you called it when they picked up Pojo Man and said that they were going to be a force to be reckoned with because of how they had even played previously. Like you saw a pickup on where the roster had been weak, and then but you knew the staff behind them, you knew that the structure behind them was there. So for them to drop a coach after such a successful first half or first like 2/3 of Pro League season 11, and then for such an amazing run at SI, like to me that reads like something happened at or after SI that is probably just unsavory enough that they chose not to keep that going or have anything to deal with that. Like there could have been a huge like kerfuffle or scuffle or whatever afterwards, some tempers flaring, and then just kind of damage done, and someone didn't want to deal with it basically. Which I mean, in this really kind of wild west world of people don't exactly know what their contracts are all the time, or they just don't know how to instill kind of that professional coach level um, of integrity, or just like how these organizations are really organic and everyone's still trying to figure them out. I could see this just being like an event that was just like, we don't know what to do, we're just going to cut clean and try and avoid as much as we can.
Also, it could have been a situation to where they realized they just didn't need him. Maybe he
That's true.
wasn't really, maybe he wasn't even really doing much. Maybe the players are just, synchronizing that well, and they just know what to do. And maybe they realized they didn't need a coach, and it just wasn't um, unnecessary, uh, payroll. So they just dropped the coach altogether.
i'm
I
trying
still
to
think that was a dumb idea, but I can see the logic behind it.
I'm trying to think back to SI, like when you saw um space station space station gaming playing, you saw Lycan behind them. I can't
Hmm.
remember if I saw a coach behind TSM.
They didn't have one.
So where was Bagel?
Well, no, okay, so Gotcha was the coach for TSM for a while. Remember that? And
Oh yeah,
then they dropped Jarvis, and then Gotcha went in as a player, and then they didn't actually have like a designated coach for a long time. Do you remember
gotcha.
that?
Yeah, I remember
No pun intended, by the way.
that.
But
I'm the dad here. I make those jokes.
but anyways, yeah, they didn't have like a designated coach for a long time. Uh, and so yeah, they picked up Bagel as I think just under a trial basis, but I think they realized that they didn't really need him. I mean, don't take my word on that, but I think that's what happened.
That seems to make a lot of sense. I mean, having someone step in and then just letting the players figure it out, like if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing.
I think that's exactly what happened. Maybe it wasn't a fact of um, they didn't need him. I think maybe he came in and was like introducing some coaching techniques that like just didn't, they were so used to doing things one way and it was working for them. And he was like, we need to start doing this, this, and this, and this, and they were just like, they're like, as good as an idea as that is, like, I don't, like you just said, like, if it ain't broke, why, don't fix it. Um, I mean, it could have also been that. So, but we'll never
Yeah,
know,
and I
obviously.
mean certainly leading up to SI, TSM number one spot in North America Pro League. If and then they go to SI and they perform so well, like certainly if it ain't broke, don't touch it. Like they've got a machine going right there. I mean, TSM stood toe to toe with Space Station Gaming, and then like they had taken out, I can't even remember the runners up name because nobody remembers second place.
Are you talking about an SI?
Yeah,
Uh, I mean, the second place was Nip, but
Nip. Thank you. I'm totally blanked on their name. I was thinking Reciprocity for some reason. And Fnatic. Couldn't put Nip in my mind. Um, but yeah, like they stood toe to toe with Nip, and they beat Nip in the first round. So like they have something really going there, and if there was just too much going on to shake it up, I could see them making that choice. But certainly surprising for a lot of people.
yeah, it really was. And I mean,
And
if any of you guys have Twitter, you go on Twitter right now, you're just gonna see a bunch of up in arms posts about TSM dropping him. So
I'm gonna have to check that out. I think that would be good to see what's going on, what people think.
I thought it was
Outside
pretty
of
funny.
oh,
I thought it was pretty funny earlier. Hyper from GZ posted on Twitter earlier today. He's like, this is my entire timeline today, and it's just a gif of a bunch of bagels dropping out of the sky.
harsh. That's harsh.
Well, I don't think it was meant to be harsh. I think it was just because everyone's talking about bagel,
Yeah.
you know. But
I mean,
I thought it was
it's
funny.
dropping bagels. Everyone's talking bagel. Like it all works on so many different levels,
That's true. That's true.
no matter how you slice the bagel. The outside of that, there's nothing left at SI. We're number one. Go Space Station Gaming. That's been my pro team since I really started following Siege. So, and here I was predicting back in December that they're disbanding. Go me! I'm way off. But no one tunes in for my knowledge and skill of Rainbow Six.
I saw an interesting infographic earlier on Twitter. I should have thought to bring up. Let me see if I can find it again. But it was an infographic about how much each team has like brought in winnings.
Oh yeah,
Let me see if I can. I'll just save it here. I'll share it with you. So, Space Station, obviously after SI, is sitting at a comfortable 1.4 million in prize money won.
yep.
NIP is sitting at 479,000. Empire 380,000. TSM at 324,000. And DZ at 232,000.
That's a good showing.
BDS at 212,000, and then the rest of the lot sitting sub 200. But
No one walked away with less than $130,000. You take into account 5 players, a coach, any other support staff. So we'll just round up to 10.
I think this is all of the money that was in the prize pool for SI.
Yeah, that's
So
how
I
you break
think-
down.
Yeah, so Space Station got $1 million for winning. NIP got 500, about 500K for second place. I didn't know that these teams got that much money for just like being there and like getting
Oh,
far.
yeah.
Like that's a lot of money, you know. I didn't know. So when I talked to some of the pro players in Raleigh when I went, you know, I was curious. I was like, you know, how much money you guys get for coming to LAN? They're like, well, just making it to LAN, they got, each of the players got a bonus of like $6,000. He's like, yeah, I got $6,000 just for being here. I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's an interesting fun fact on here, and I'm wondering how that happened. Fun fact, with $74,000, Team Secret is the highest earning roster not attending SI 2020. So maybe this is all of the prize money that these teams have won over time, not just prize pool from SI.
it could be. This infographic is a little misleading because it didn't really say exactly what the money is from, but I think it is. I think it's the total prize pool money from SI, because I know the prize pool was $3 million for the whole shebang. So I think if maybe you add all that up, it might
and
equate to
and that prize
around
pool
three
might
million.
and that prize pool may not have included the money from the battle pass, because it was like 30% of the money raised from the battle pass went to the prize pool also.
Yeah,
So it probably
that's
doesn't
true.
include that. And so there's, I mean, yeah, still, regardless, like Space Station Gaming jumping to the top because this was the biggest prize pool, I think, in Rainbow Six history. It had,
It is, yeah.
it definitely had the crowdfunding aspect to it, which just layers on top of this. I'm going to assume it's layering on top of this. But then like it's a huge payout. It makes it all the more worth it to perform well. Like you see that jump of, let's see, only 5k from the bottom two teams, but then it like jumps from 150,000 to 180,000. And actually, you know what, this is all prize pools in the history, because Navi and Rogue weren't there.
Wait.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Navi and
right.
Rogue are on that list, but they weren't at SI. So yeah, this is collective prize pools.
Okay.
And you can see that down at the bottom of this graphic, which I don't have a good way of sharing to show the stream, but like Rogue has been to 6 lands. It looks like four of their attendances were not placing, and then 2 silvers. Space Station Gaming, a gold, a silver, and 3 did not place, or out of the top 3. Yeah, so Empire's the only one. Empire's on there with 2 golds and did not place, and they're third on this infographic and prize pool, which would make sense.
Oh yeah, okay. I see the rankings now. Okay.
It's not a great and super clear infographic, so I think the descriptions work well enough.
Yeah.
So outside of that, I mean, we're on essentially a month-long break until season 11 continues. Pro League season 11 will continue. So we've got Challenger League stuff to look forward to. We've got more roster apocalypses to look forward to. We've got college stuff to look out for, because basically all of the leagues are in like an 8-week first phase. Some are a couple weeks ahead of others. So like CR6 is in week 1. CRSL is in trials number 7, which I'll get into that later. And then CEA is in week 3. And so they'll be moving on to the CRSL will move on to their next phase soon. CEA will have like another 5 weeks of this, of round robin within their groups. And then CEA is doing that. CRSL doing that. CR6 is doing 8 weeks of, I believe it's random matchmaking to kind of, I think it's random. I need to double check on that, so don't quote me on that. All these leagues and rules and everything, and everyone running it different, is getting all jumbled in my head. But CR6 is run exactly like last season, so we'll keep it like that. So anyone who's familiar with that will understand what it means. And with that, I guess I'll just jump right into college stuff. The cool stuff, and I mentioned this, I might have mentioned some of this last Saturday, but this is a refresher since it's been almost a week, which is kind of crazy. Trial 6 winners, 6 of 8. We have Sheridan College, another big contender from CR6 that I remember. Texas A&M Maroon, so I believe that's your A squad. University of Texas San Antonio B squad, so I think their A squad qualified for a different trial earlier. And then Virginia Commonwealth University was the 4th to qualify from this trial, which I don't know if I've really tracked any of their games in CR6. I think I've seen them. I just don't believe they ever made it out of groups or really made it to the top.
for, for a light bulb just clicked in my brain. For a long time, I was looking at colleges for CR6, and for the longest time, I never knew what VCU was, and I tried to look for it. I could never figure out what VCU was, and then you.
There you go. I have
Virginia
all the answers.
Commonwealth University.
I have all the answers.
For the life of me, I couldn't figure out what VCU was.
Oh, trust me, I have that more than enough times with all these acronyms and purple golds and state colleges, but then off in a different city and everything. It's like, what does UNCCHPLET mean? Like, what? That's an exaggeration. UNCCH is University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. I know that one.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys. I don't mean to joke on you.
And I tried to go track them down in CR6's Discord, and usually when you like type at and then like their name in the Discord, it'll tell you like who they are, you know, like, you know, the little it'll like trying to autocorrect you,
right?
And it'll say like, oh, this person, and then it'll have like their little school tag next to them, you know. I type all their player names, none of them would pop up. I'm like, these guys are ghosts. They're ghosts. I cannot figure out what VCU is. I tried to type VCU into Google, and like it just did not help me.
Yeah. So then this Saturday, if you haven't registered already, this is your last online qualifier for CRSL. When I say last online qualifier, is because the next day, Sunday the 23rd, is the last trial number 8, which is an 8-team tournament in the Bring Your Own Computer section of DreamHack Anaheim. So they will be doing this live on LAN, which is honestly the first CR or college-based Rainbow Six tournament that I've heard about. So this is kind of a first and a really cool event for these teams to be able to take a part of.
I just thought, which DreamHack did you say it was? DreamHack
Anaheim.
Anaheim.
This one this
okay.
weekend.
See, what they're doing is very innovative, and it's really cool, and I like it, but it's also really risky because how are they going to guarantee that all the teams can make it to Anaheim? These are college kids we're talking about, you know, like, oh, you know, you're going to come to Anaheim to play. I was like, sorry, I'm a broke college kid. I can't fly to Anaheim, nor do I have money for tickets. So
the
you
one
know,
cool
I don't
thing
know.
was...
I don't know how.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was done talking.
So they had discount tickets available, and then they had, I believe, extra discounted tickets for anyone who was going to be going to the Bring Your Own Computer section. So there was that, and if I am savvy enough, and if my computer can handle running Chrome while streaming, I can tell you 3 teams have already registered. We're almost there, almost halfway there. Arizona State University Maroon team, I'm guessing that's their A squad. Northern Arizona University Gold, I'm guessing that's their A squad. And then the AFK Experience, which is also another Northern University school, Northern Arizona University school. So Arizona's showing up. They're driving out, flying out, whatever it takes to.
Their team name isn't their school. Their team name is the AFK Experience.
Yeah.
Were they allowed to do that?
That's what it is on the website.
What the heck? So you
I can look at the roster.
I guess the team is allowed to name themselves whatever they want, but typically, you know, in college settings, it's like, you know, X college gold or X college, you know, C or X college, whatever. They're just no college, the AFK Experience.
The difference is that CRSL actually has bio pages for these teams, so you can tell what university they're from. So team name, the AFK Experience. University, Northern Arizona University. Staff members, coach, manager, with their real name and their Discord name, and then any of the players have their what looks to be like their Uplay account name. So it's all
Okay.
there, so you can track them down and everything. It's not even it's all
Well,
public
I'm
facing
not
now.
questioning. I'm not questioning the legitimacy of their. That's just funny to me that they named their
Yeah.
team that.
Oh, I agree. Like, and it's something that I hadn't seen before. So I mean, it's not the A team clearly, and then the B team, like they're just goofing. But at the same time, if they can get two teams to go to DreamHack and go to the bring your own computer section, like maybe a little jank with that, but it's a college league and they're trying to do something with a LAN, so we'll see how it pans out. But yeah, I definitely agree. It could be risky of how can you guarantee 8 teams to get out there? What happens if a school like Northern Arizona University decides to flood with like 4 or 5 teams, and where they know 4 of the 5 aren't any good, and so that it just guarantees one of their teams going. But then again, how much money do you really want to dump into this? So it's an interesting look. I like seeing lands. I hope we see more of it. I hope we can see like a really strong college-based Rainbow Six League LAN that's more than just a best of or a round robin best of 8 kind of tournament.
Yeah. So
Moving
what are
on.
what?
Nope.
Sorry, one more thing. What are the colleges that are supposed to sign up for the LAN?
Win?
No, which colleges are? Did you say when you said 3 teams had registered? Are those the 3 teams that are supposed to be attending DreamHack Atlanta to
Yeah,
play in the
those were
BYOC?
the 3 teams that have registered so far that CRSL has
Who are all the
updated their website.
teams?
That's
Who are
it.
all the teams that should?
Any
Okay.
team who hasn't won any of the other trials that wants to try and get into this very exclusive 32 team league after these
Can go
trials.
to the.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. That makes so much more sense.
It's not an invitational to DreamHack. It's just the first 8 teams to register for the trial number 8 will be there for the tournament.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
All right, we can move on.
All right, moving on. Let's see. We've got CEA. So I got to watch one of their matches that they streamed, which I am still so thankful for CEA streaming their matches right now. I know CR6 said that they're going to get to streaming their matches, and they have a volunteer sheet going on, so streams will be happening for even that league this season, which is fantastic. And I know CRSL does streams whenever people come on, so there's plenty of matches to watch, which I'm really excited about. But I got to watch the matchup between Tennessee Tech University and Texas Tech, and these were both A squads, and they're in the way CEA is structured. All of their divisions are region based, so these are all teams that are relatively close to each other geographically. So this was Tennessee Tech and Texas Tech, and this was map 1 was Tennessee's map on Bank. They ended up losing 7-4, and then map 2, obviously Texas Tech's map, Clubhouse, 7-5 for Texas Tech. So Texas Tech is going to get three more points for their standings, and Tennessee Tech will get nothing this time around. They actually have an interesting scoring mechanic where since it's a best of 2, you either half win and half lose or tie. There's different breakdowns of points. So like if you get a loss and a tie, you get nothing, or you might get 1 point. But if you get 2 losses, nothing, 2 draws, you get 2 points. I think that's how it goes. It's just it's a different way of scoring than I've seen. So it's an interesting way of how that can play out. But winning both rounds, or both maps, you get 3 points for your standings. And what this does is Texas Tech getting 3 points, they'll at least remain tied with Illinois or University of Illinois at Chicago if they win, and then it'll just be down to round differentials if they're still tied. But at this moment, Texas Tech is ahead with one more game played, and their round differential will go up by 3 or 4 this time around. So only marginal gains, and it's something that University of Illinois Chicago could easily overcome with their match if they just dominate their matchup. And that's it for CEA. Let me struggle with the Battlefy website once again to bring up the CR6 spring season. I don't even know what to call this. This is like a free-for-all cage match, all the teams against all the teams, because I think that there's no waiting for all of this. So round one, we had, like, for example, and we talked about this a little bit off stream, was Grand Canyon University Purple, which I'm assuming is their A squad, versus University of Minnesota Twin Cities Gold. I don't recall seeing University of Minnesota Twin Cities Gold in any of the previous CR6 leagues.
Yeah,
so
that's
last
they're
spring,
new.
this winter. So
University
I think they're a new team. And so Grand Canyon University was seed 22, and University of Minnesota is like 119th. So we know how good GCU is. They are a contender, and they have been a contender like the last 3 seasons, and they just dominated with a 2-0. I can't tell you what maps they were on, but I can tell you they won 2-0. I really wish there was more information allowed on Battlefy. I really do.
Yeah, me too.
Let's see. Some of the other matchups from week 1 saw CU Boulder Black, which was a huge contender last in the winter season for CR6. They won 2-1 against Ohio State University Scarlet, which I also believe is their number 1 team. University of Central Florida Black beat out Ole Miss Red 2-0. University of Wisconsin, I think that's Wisconsin. I don't know, but it's abbreviated, so I can't figure that out. UW Whitewater, they're familiar contenders from last season as well. They 2-0'd Marquette University. Northeastern University, they beat out Texas State 2-0. Trying to find out some of these other. Oh, we just saw Texas Tech play in CEA. Now here in CR6, they played against Michigan State University, and they 2-0'd them as well. In this first 8 weeks, I think we're going to see a lot of 2-0s because of the nature of the mismatch of skills, and with 140 teams, I believe. Yeah, so there's 140 teams. The likelihood of getting a good matchup is going to be really difficult. And to say that these were all 2-0s doesn't mean that they weren't close matches. It's just we don't have the scores to go off of.
Yeah.
And round differential isn't even posted, so it's not a stat that Battlefy can support at this point. So I'll have to dig into those stats. And speaking of stats, my hope is to start getting access to the stats pages for each of these leagues, and then compiling them into a massive master sheet, and be able to start talking legitimate power rankings as we get more experiences across more schools, and just seeing how this all spider webs out. If I could do it and get a mind map to show where one team has played all of these other teams and just color code who won and who lost against what, like, that would be a dream for me, because data nerd production, it happens. And I think that would just be great to show. I mean, I've got this wonderful space behind me for a green screen. I could go up like a weatherman and start drawing lines between the two teams. Like, that's the dream. That's the podcast dream right there. So yeah, there's going to be 70 matches, and there's been maybe 10 played so far in week 1. Tomorrow's Friday, and Saturday we're going to have a lot of matches being recorded this weekend. So next week there will be a lot more to talk about in terms of matches from this week, matches for next week, and just seeing how things start shaping up, and see if I can get some clarification on how these matches are being decided. Yeah. So, but I'm loving this. I'm loving this with 3 different leagues, streams happening, coming online, being able to watch. Like, I've got an hour and a half long bus commute 2 ways each day. So if there's a stream, I get to watch it. Basically, I get to post on Twitter, little mini player on my phone, and listen to the commentary. So casters, you're doing a great job just putting it out there, putting the information and the game out there in such an organized way. I really appreciate it. You guys are killing it, and being able to watch these matches really means a lot to me as I'm learning. I'm learning a lot, and then just being able to highlight everyone's efforts. Like, I think that's the main thing that I'm getting out of this, is just highlighting how much all of these students are really working.
Yeah, I mean that is a great way to kill time. Second off, I just wanted to readdress this thing that you casually brushed over, is the fact that you take a bus for an hour and a half each way every day.
Yes, sir.
You are a lot more patient than I am, good sir.
It's where I get most of my social media done. It's where I get most of my scheduling done. It's where I catch up on sleep. It's where I
Do you work in the next state over? What's going on here?
That's just how bad traffic is in the morning and the evenings, and how miserable our public transportation is out here.
Traffic? Do you live in LA?
This is West Side Washington, man. This is getting into Seattle. Like, outside, like national worst traffic. Like, Seattle is right behind LA.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Do you
Yeah.
do you live on one side of Seattle and you have to work on the like the complete ass end of the other side of Seattle?
I am on the other side of a lake, away from Seattle. Seattle has 3 main entrances, from the north, from the east, and from the south. And I am northeast. So I'm in like one of the most inconvenient places to get into Seattle at a regular basis. And I'll describe it a little bit better. My bus pickup spot is the second stop on the trip. My drop off point is the very last stop on that.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I get to learn a lot about Rainbow Six and college esports while I'm staring at my phone, and I usually drain about 40 to 50, sometimes 60% of my battery in that one trip.
I was gonna say, like I would have to bring like a phone charger with me, you know, like using my phone that much on the bus.
That's why I'm glad I have a desk that has space for me to have a rapid charger at work. And so it's like basically I put my phone down and I pull up Twitter at work, and just Twitter and Twitch at work, listen to stuff, listen to matches as well. So then I'll take notes during lunch and everything, and then get back to work, or I'll record a podcast during lunch too.
And like, if you don't have unlimited data, like it would almost be worth it to like buy a little like hotspot egg and take with you on the bus.
Yeah, it would totally be worth it. And that's actually something I've been considering getting, so that I can do podcast editing and like more social media stuff, just to be posting more often. But right now I'm a phone junkie.
Oh man. But anyways, is that it for CR6, or for everything CR6?
Yeah, that's basically everything. Like, CR6 is in the middle of week 1, so there's not a whole lot to go off of. The news that they're going to start streaming is a godsend. The CEA week 3, they're wrapping up week 3. They'll move on to 4. I think it's a 8-week group section before they move on to their group play. And then I have this graphic, which I can pull up for CRSL, just to better demonstrate what we are looking at for them. And so if on my stream, folks can see Crucibles, which they renamed to Trials, and I think they nixed this invited team because they're doing Crucible number 8, which I don't know how that works out with Akron and Miami, and the 2 fan favorites, because if Akron and Miami didn't have to go through any of the trials, then I don't know how they're getting their spots into the league. I don't know. I can work on figuring that out. But the top four winners from each of the trials gets to be an invited team. They'll split those 32 teams up into 4 groups of 8. Each of those groups will be broken down into 4s, and those are play-ins. They'll get into regional playoffs, and then the top 4 teams go into the finals and grand finals. And so that's how we'll break down. We have Trial 7 this Saturday, Trial 8 next week, and then we'll move into the group stage, which will be a lot of fun to start seeing, because the nice thing about CRSL is that it's purely an invite team. There's none of this grabbing the open divisions and kind of mixing them in, kind of CRS6 style. This is like isolated, the ones who have won. These are the top teams who went out and participated in competitions. So we'll see how this breaks down, but I could also see this format being a little more volatile in the consistency of skills of teams showing up. So maybe they were hot against the teams that they played against in their specific trial, but then they might nice cattail. But then they might be up against teams that were stacked from another trial. So it'll be really interesting to see how that breaks down and see what names are involved. And next week we'll do a recap of all of the teams who are in the invited teams for this, and then we can start. Maybe you and I will do another bracket challenge.
Okay. Yeah,
but
I'm down.
That's it for all the leagues. Any last words for you for the week?
Not really, but next week we'll fill everyone in on any potential roster updates for Pro League. If anything else happens over the week, I will keep my eyes peeled and see what happens, and I will only update you guys with confirmed changes and try and keep the rumors out of the mail here.
Fair enough. And I'm going to make a bold prediction. Space Station changes nothing.
I mean, I don't know if that's bold. I can.
It's certainly not bold. I mean, if they didn't change anything for season 11 at the beginning, they're not changing anything now after they just won the whole SI bit.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna change a damn thing. But I'm trying to think of a team that might change something. EG, they will probably change something.
Reciprocity.
Rec, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I could see. Maybe Tempo Storm.
Definitely,
since Tempo. They are bottom of the barrel at the moment.
Well, actually, since you brought that up, being at the bottom of season 11 isn't a bad thing.
Why do you say that?
Because no one's being relegated. They're expanding the team size, the team pool for season 12 to 10 teams. No one's being relegated.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, no one wants to be bottom of the barrel, you know?
Yeah,
so.
No one wants to be down there, but it's the cloud out, the silver lining to the cloud. Just because
does that mean no more Challenger League? Does that mean no more Challenger League players are coming into Pro League?
Not until after season 12.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So all of the Challenger League teams are stuck.
I believe so. I will double check that and we will confirm this next week, but I believe I think it was on Liquipedia, and let's see.
Oh, if that is the case,
yeah, it's right here on Liquipedia.
I feel so bad for Easily.
So in season 11, exceptionally, there will be no relegation in the European and North American regions, as the number of teams in Pro League season 12 will be 10.
Wait, so how many teams are there currently? I don't keep count. So they're bringing 2 more in?
So the
Okay.
Challenger League teams who win this season, they still get bumped up.
Okay. Okay.
So that would make more. That would be
Yeah.
how that works. Unless Ubisoft really just feels like screwing the Challenger League and just being like, "Hey, we're going. You can buy your way in," but I don't think they would do that. But yeah, I mean, how about that? That actually works really well. The 2 bottom teams of Pro League don't get relegated, and the top 2 teams of Challenger League, they don't have to fight to get in; they just get in.
Yeah, that's nice. So whoever's at the top is really lucky this season.
Yeah,
Really
which
lucky.
we will have to talk about Challenger League next week.
I really hope Disrupt makes it in a pro league. They've been trying so damn hard to get into pro league, and only for them to get their players poached by actual pro league teams. that poor Challenger League team, that organization has just been stripped dry. They have been. I don't know if anyone is familiar with Disrupt, but they have been in Challenger. They have been an organization and Challengers League team for a very long time, and 90% of all Pro League players have come from Disrupt. They have all been poached from Disrupt, starting from like season 1. So Disrupt has been wanting to get into Pro League for so damn long, and they've been so damn close, only to get their players poached, and
That's
they just
terrible.
have been struggling. Maybe if they get a team together and get their asses in gear this season, they can finally make their dreams come true. So, well,
So right now we have, looks like X Rise Nation and the Susquehanna Sonics um, listed on the Challenger League Season 11. And so then there's 6 qualifiers, and then we'll see how that playoff breaks down in roughly 6 weeks. So that will be a couple weeks after Pro League starts back up again.
yeah, because Challenger League is like half of a Pro League season, right? Yeah.
And that Challenger League starts this Sunday, or
Yeah.
this Monday. So there will be high level quality matches for the pro scene being played starting Monday, basically, and that will fill in the gap for the actual pro league.
Yeah. I will watch those Challenger League matches.
Awesome. Now that we've gone on a second tangent, now I think I'm done.
I am as well.
All right, then I will catch you next week, and I will see everyone in chat next week. I'll see you, but you won't, or you'll see me. I won't see you. I might see a name, but that's how that goes. And if you are interested in listening to the podcast, because Syntax and I are just so charming, you can listen to the podcast anchor.fm/checkyour6, and that's with the number 6. And if you feel like leaving a message with your feedback, your questions, your concerns, your rumor mills, by all means, leave a message for me on social media at WarwalkerCall, or you can also leave a voicemail for the podcast itself, anchor.fm/checkyour6/message. And you can find Syntax on Twitch at SyntaxGG and Twitter at Syntax, right?
At Syntax GG.
Syntax GG. And so that's about it. And we will keep you all appraised of Pro League drama, Challenger League games, and college-based leagues as well over the next several weeks until Pro League kicks back in. With that, adios.
See you later, everyone.